So, fellas, and the hard R fellas that have joined the channel, I am forced to punch right today, something I don't enjoy doing. So let me set this up as reasonably as possible. I've been watching Actual Justice Warrior since around 10,000 subs. He is shown to be elite at being factual and objective when it comes to multiple forms of crime, but most courageously, he has been tackling the issue of black crime for almost a decade. He is, without question, a very principled person, and has been incredibly important in taking people away from the left and pushing them right with its extensive knowledge of the law and how things work and why they are the way that they are. That having been said, he is getting his butthole punished in the comment section on this video, and rightfully so. I don't know if it's his autism or libertarianism, or if there's even a difference between the two, but even though he doesn't want to admit it, he is capitulating to the left by using their rhetoric and lens of analysis when it comes to right-wing comedy with white people using blackface and making fun of black people. So let's just get into it.
By the way, half the struggles that black women think they face, it's of their own f***ing doing. Running around in nails like this, running around in earrings like this, like you people fight every day. You people fight every day. Could you choose any outfit and get up that's like less conducive to fighting?
So a couple of months ago, or maybe a year ago, I'm not really sure, I was talking to a friend of the channel, Devin Tracy of Atheism is Unstoppable. We ultimately ended up arriving at the conclusion that maybe, just maybe, there were better times on the internet.com, and specifically those better times were when there was like 5 people talking about the reality of black criminality on the internet, and Devin and I were 2 of those 5 people. And you realize that there are really stupid people. The bar keeps getting significantly lower that are not mature enough in order to handle these topics. And what ultimately ends up happening is that these kind of people end up creating an environment where the pendulum is going to swing back in the other direction because they don't understand the purpose and the value in having these conversations in an informed and effective way.
So first of all, this is so confusing because Sean, your friend, Devin, was banned off of YouTube because of the crass way he was discussing the black community. He's also a liberal race realist, Sean. Second of all, is it the autism or the libertarianism? Yeah, Sean, this is how you choose to cover the topic. Millions of us choose to handle the unjust, manufactured terror of this population in our society with antagonistic comedy, myself included. You see, comedy allows us to keep talking about the same topic, which will never be solved, without making it boring or monotonous. Most of us aren't you, Sean. We understand the problem, we understand the facts, all we can do is make fun of them. You need to understand this.
And a perfect example of this is Lilly Gaddis, but honestly, it could be any individual that decided that this Halloween they were going to do the blackface because they're going to be super ultra edgy, because these types of influencers are essentially held up and propped up in order to be things to be made fun of, to draw negative attention, and ultimately the result of that is hurting the very policies that I'm interested in advocating for.
Now, Sean never says how this woman dressing up in blackface, which we can agree is not even traditional blackface, she made her skin dark, just like this kid did at school for his report on MLK Jr.
Attention this afternoon, an 8-year-old boy who went to school black-faced, as you see there, to give a speech on Martin Luther King Jr. The Colorado second grader dressed up as the civil rights leader, complete with black paint on his face as part of a class history project. But the costume didn't go over well. His painted face offended some students and a teacher, and he was sent home after refusing to wash it off.
They thought it was inappropriate and it would be disrespectful to black people. But I say that it's not. I like black people. I don't want to be mean to them. It's just a costume. I don't want to insult anybody.
Are you gonna read him the riot act, Sean? The kid doesn't even have the speech capacity to say the hard R. But Sean never says how this somehow interferes with any policies he wants to put into action. This is one of several reasons why you're about to see why this feels woke. What doesn't help his case is by levying the accusation that criticism he's going to get is defensive. The left always says that white people are just being defensive when they're responding to something racial. Oh, let's continue.
Not to mention the fact that it is actually legitimately evil to hate somebody based on the color of their skin. And again, doing blackface just to be like, I'm edgy, does significantly more damage, not just to you and your personal life, but to the people around you, because then there ends up becoming this weird kind of defensive mechanism, which, by the way, you will see some of that in the comments, where people jump to defend this piss poor behavior. And that backlash or blacklash is definitely coming, and this is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, Sean, there's a huge double standard where black people can dress as white people and it's fine, but white people can't dress as black people, okay? It's a double standard, and the only way to counter that double standard is for white people to be able to do the same thing that black people do. It's a very simple concept.
Listen up, a black woman is speaking. When you are fighting, when you are going to bat, okay? Before you wake up in the morning, get out of bed and you have to think like a fighter. You have to put yourself in the mindset of not, oh, it's just easy breezy and I might pick up a fight or a felony later on. No, that is the wrong mindset to have. The correct mindset to have is that you wake up every day knowing that every day is a fight. Every day is a potential crash out. Every day is a potential chance to chimp out.
Now, I stumbled across this video on Halloween along with many other posts of alleged conservative media figures doing blackface, and I remember basically reposting this particular video with the caption that this goes in the category of nope, and then in my replies to me posting this, I ended up getting people saying, Sean, you've gone totally woke. I don't know why you're so woke now, Sean, as if saying, you know, maybe blackface just for the purpose of humiliating black people based on their race is not exactly the direction that we should be going in, is somehow a woke position.
Yeah, dude. You sound like a woke white liberal. What would you say to all the black conservatives that don't care about this? What would you say to all the black conservatives that support this because it's a culturally even racial playing field in the country? It actually allows black Americans to talk about how they're not those people and also condemn that behavior. The same way white people get to say they're nothing like the crazy blue-haired leftists. If they can't handle the mock, we don't care to hear them talk. There's plenty of civic nationalists such as myself on the right that engage with black conservatives about the sub-Saharan behavior of this community, even though they see me say way worse things than this woman has said. Now, Sean, I fully understand your rebuttal would be you're focused on the optics of how this looks, because it justifies the left's accusations of racism and fulfills the left's bloodlust to show bigotry on the right. You think this delegitimizes the right. I know your name is Actual Justice Warrior, and you made the channel in 2016 as a play on words for a social justice warrior, but it's not 2016 anymore. You're behaving like a 2016 shitlib. You're so worried about optics, while completely ignoring your audience trying to tell you how bad your optics are. You've primed your audience to feel a certain way about race while refusing to ever talk about the cultural attitudes toward race.
I won't endorse this crap. Like, it's genuinely ridiculous that I, of all people, have to say this to you guys out there in the audience, but if you didn't know, if you're unaware, it's actually legitimately not cool to hate somebody based on the color of their skin, or just to target them for being a black person. Like, you guys understand that, right? Like we should get past level 0 of the conversation.
Oh yeah, dude. She's talking about all of them. She's doing an impression of Larry Elder and Thomas Sowell and Clarence Thomas. Yeah, dude, it's all of them. She's clearly talking about certain ones that you make videos about. You should actually understand who she's referencing. It's not all of them. It seems like you just see blackface. Like a woke person, you see blackface and you go, that's hate. Like you're using hate and you're talking down to us. The people watching this, you're talking down to us. You're like, that is a hateful behavior. It's like, that's how you feel. You feel hate. We don't feel hate. She's joking around. I think she's being funny. You don't think she's being funny because you think she's being hateful. This is why it seems woke. You're not woke. I've watched Sean debate Destiny on CRT and he knew way more about it. So he's educated on this. He knows what he's talking about. He's not woke. He's acting woke. This is the criticism, and you have to understand how you seem that way, unless you're libertarian. I'm sorry, autistic.
Now, I will give one quick exemption because people are going to leave messages about it in the comments, and that is, of course, for Brittany Venti, also known as Brittany20, because she happens to be half black, and honestly, I don't know what the social protocol is for somebody who's already half black or partially black for darkening their skin, so you could take that one off the board if you want.
I'm sorry. You can't see how you're being woke when a woman does something that's way closer to actual blackface with the red lips and everything, and you think that's permissible because she's half black? How on God's green, autistic, libertarian earth can you not understand how you're viewing this from a woke epistemology? The times are different. They can't hurt you like they used to, Sean. We don't give a nappy-headed hoe about what the rules are. These rules that you're abiding by were made up by the woke. We are now making up our own rules, and our rules are fair, where if one person can do it, every person can do it, regardless as to whether or not they're half black.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke-ass and they don't care. We don't give a about your money. I couldn't care less about your money, okay? My type is broke mechanics and surfer hippie dudes who just want to live in a shack and surf and have babies.
Now look, in context right there, she used the A instead of the hard R, and obviously she wasn't referring to black people in general, so I understand why people gave her a pass on this, especially when the mob came out against her, but the fact is, this is not something that you should be elevated to any kind of minor stardom over, when in reality, this woman has no substance to her at all whatsoever. I mean,
yeah, dude, we get it. Prescriptively, you think it ought not be this way. We're dealing with how it is descriptively. You're gonna need to exhibit a stronger moral foundation if you're going to try to castigate your audience over such a non-issue. I'm thinking of this as a YouTube creator right now. You've cultivated an audience by showing descriptive negative behaviors of the black community. You don't spend any time on the channel going into more depth about your prescriptions or less descriptive factors like culture. You're just morally grandstanding to the wrong audience. It's not that facts don't care about your feelings. It's not that feelings don't care about your facts. It's that feelings care about your facts. You're trying to clinically condemn a pressure release valve for people to laugh at the situation so they don't actually become hateful. Every school shooter, Sean, lost the ability to laugh. It is a cultural necessity, logically, to apply the rules evenly regardless of race, and it is a necessity emotionally to deal with a situation that is ruining the country, pushed by the government and corporate power, and our great-great-great-grandkids will still have to deal with it. It's daunting. There's no solution in sight. You wouldn't know edgy humor if it tickled your tummy. You're not funny. People don't come to you for comedy. You're generally a boring person, which is fine. I'm just telling you to talk about what you know. You're from New York City. You have access to the Comedy Cellar, the best comedy club in the entire world without question. Your goofy ass sounds like you belong on the Daily Wire.
With that in mind, you must wake up with that mindset, okay? Like white girls have to manifest things, you have to manifest too. You have to manifest yourself into the ultimate super warrior, okay? You have to turn yourself into the ultimate warrior princess of Wakanda and go outside with that mindset in mind and know this to be the case. You will fight. You will dominate. You will win. Hail the black woman.
I mean, guys, seriously, like, what does this achieve? Like, what does this actually do? Do you find this to be, like, amusing? Because there's not really any comedic elements in here.
Yeah, Sean, people find it funny because you're not supposed to do it, because it's offensive. And she's saying some things that are true, and then she's adding a sick hail at the end. Yes, some people find that funny. Do you really not understand how anyone finds that funny? A teenager has to think that's funny, but then also, anyone could easily think that's funny. Do you really not get why that's funny? I'm not even gonna explain it, dude.
It's not actually funny. It's not even that shocking because multiple people had the same exact idea on the same day, so obviously we can see that this is not even that creative.
Oh my god, dude. Humor doesn't have to be creative. It doesn't have to be unique. Sometimes it's just courageous. And we see some people do things go, wow, I would never do that because I'm afraid of what would happen if I did do that. Why am I explaining? I just said I wouldn't explain it. Why am I explaining it to you? You have to be acting like you don't understand this in order to morally grandstand, which seems woke. It just seems like you're morally grandstanding, and you're talking down to people that find that funny.
And in addition to that, you're not winning over any hearts and minds. What you're actually doing is just ginning up controversy around yourself for attention in order for Lilly and people like her to personally benefit off of that attention, while at the same time basically smearing the entirety of conservative media and the right wing by proxy. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Sean, they'll call you racist anyway. But the thing is, when you do a thing that is known to be racist, the label actually ends up fitting. And again, what is the result of this? She gets invited on Piers Morgan just so Piers can dare her to say the N-word in, by the way, a video that we covered in the past.
I covered this on my channel as well, and it was unbelievably funny. I'm gonna show you what he showed. You guys better not think it's funny or Sean's gonna look down on you.
Say
You
the
will
M-
not have
Go on,
free
say,
speech.
go on. Say the M word. Go on.
No.
hang on.
Don't invite. No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and asking her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do.
I-
but we
you know
already
what,
know
Mark?
she's
I
racist.
hear you.
And I don't want to invite
Mark,
a racial harm to me.
I
to
hear
prove
you.
All right, Sean, here we go. Tell us how it's not funny, or important, by the way, because it showcased the hypocrisy of Mark Lamont Hill saying the N-word, showing that there's a racial privilege to who can and can't say it, and then he called a brown man an Uncle Tom, further showcasing the hypocrisy about these words and these slurs, about how they're just used to attack white people and people that aren't white into agreeing with them, okay? So it was funny, and it put forth an important political message to everyone in this culture. Now explain to us how it's not funny or important.
Now look, while Mark Lamont Hill melting down in that particular Piers Morgan segment actually saved said segment, again, I will emphasize that nothing of value has been achieved, and essentially what's going on is you're watching internet whoring. Like, you're watching somebody do whatever in order to get attention, in order to get money, destroy herself in order to do so, and this is exactly equivalent to what we would expect from OnlyFans people. And again, would we expect this girl in a few years not to try her hand at that eventually in the future?
Wait a minute. Would you say the same thing about a man? Is she really dressing provocatively? Does she really sexualize herself? You have to be calling her a whore and saying she's gonna do OnlyFans at some point because she's a woman doing offensive comedy you don't like. How are you friends with Atheism is Unstoppable and this humor about black people offends you? Let's be some gentlemen of culture and go through her Instagram. Looks like she's just being a normal woman that sometimes dolls herself up, but for the most part has a pretty natural look, doesn't really flaunt around her body or anything. Could some men goon to this? Sure, but there's guys that are into feet, which I don't condone. Oh, she's in a swimsuit. How dare she put on makeup and be in a swimsuit one time on her Instagram? It's incredible. She's advocating for white people, and she's done with feeling guilty about making jokes about black people. Since anyone can make jokes about white people, she's leveling the playing field. How do you culturally not understand the significance of what she's doing? You don't have to think it's funny. But just like a woke person, you're gonna morally grandstand while showing your lack of moral character by saying she's a whore and she's probably gonna do OnlyFans because she just wants attention because you don't like her offensive jokes. Sean, you're acting like she has some sort of root ideology for what she's doing. You're thinking way too deep into it, dude.
Because there's no root ideology right here. There's nothing to say that this person will stay a conservative because they're not really conservative right now. And again, this is obviously done in a mean-spirited way in order to target black people in a hateful way.
What? Targeting black people in a hateful way? You're using the woke language that the left uses to cancel and get people banned on social media. You're calling her hateful in a clear attempt to disparage her. You're showing clear signs that you'll engage politically with the rules that the left sets. You could have said anything in the arena of, I don't think this is politically effective. then people would say it's just comedy. And then you could have said, I get that it's just comedy to you, but I think the optics of it politically and what it brings out of the people on the right is overall a net negative. She obviously has the freedom to do it, and she shouldn't be censored, but I just think it's a hack move comedically and not worth the political implications. You didn't have to call her a whore and lecture people on what they should find funny. Congratulations! You've made white wingers skeptical of you, and when shit hits the fan on race, we see where you stand. Now let's see what this whore has to say for herself, and see how she defends putting on blackface, said the alleged conservative.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to the show. So last night was Halloween, as many people know, and I decided to dress up like everyone else does. You know, people are out there dressed like Satan and witches, and they're dressed like every horrible thing under the sun. Well, I decided to dress up as something, the most horrifying thing I could think of, which is the black woman, which is a person who is angry and fed up that their EBT card has been declined, that their race card is no longer working in this new climate.
So look, obviously, black people are disproportionately on government welfare programs. Black women are disproportionately on programs like food stamps. We all know that. We all understand that. And if you were to highlight like a black family that I saw on a news report where the woman has 5 kids and she's like, how am I supposed to feed these kids? Or that Hispanic family when they're like, oh, well, we didn't choose to have kids, taking no responsibility for their own lives, while, by the way, they're simultaneously incredibly obese, saying that they need to eat and they're gonna starve to death. That would be one thing, but just saying I dress as black woman, food stamps, haha, like seriously, what are we doing? Like, what is happening?
Well, Sean, I could tell you what we are doing right now. I don't know what we you're referring to, but you're sounding more like them than you are a we. What you're doing is Ben Shapiro conservatism. What you're doing is neoconservatism, okay? Which is not conservatism. What we are doing is laughing because white people have been targeted for a long time now, and we're fed up with it, and so we're going to mock black people in a much lower way than they've been mocking white people for the past few decades, dude. Okay, sorry. What we are doing is paleoconservatism, which acknowledges that the West is white. We're going to be a white minority country in the next generation or two, and we disagree with that. And so being white actually does mean something when it comes to preserving the country and its values. I know race scares you because you're a Ben Shapiro conservative, but you better wake up, dude. You better hop on board and get left in the dust. Or just shut your mouth when it comes to comedy. No one asked you what you thought about comedy, okay? That's not why you're here. That's not why you make videos, okay? So stop being a wet blanket and sounding like such a pussy.
Look, I am not sorry to say this, but this goes in the category of nope, absolutely not, ridiculous and absurd. And if you don't understand like what we should be fighting for, which is not just the random idea that we hate on black people and make them the center of our lives, much in the same way that a lot of woke black people make white people the author of every problem in their lives, then honestly, I don't know what to say to you. You just legitimately don't get it. And maybe simping for like these like low tier e-girls is what you're actually looking for on the internet.com. And if that happens to be the case, go follow her on social media. Go enjoy the, oh, I did blackface, I'm so edgy content that doesn't have anything to it. Again, just to follow some like vaguely attractive internet.com woman. I mean, come on, guys.
So let's end it here. I'm not ashamed to say this, but Sean's pathetic, spineless kvetching about white people dressing up in blackface on Halloween
goes in the category of nope, absolutely not, ridiculous and absurd. And if you don't understand like what we should be fighting for, then honestly, I don't know what to say to you. You just legitimately don't get it.
Cry about it, dude. Go clutch your pearls somewhere else. You're acting woke by lecturing people on how they could possibly find something funny because it was so hateful and racist. You don't have a backbone. This actually offended you. This got you emotional. And so I've articulated the criticism, Sean. So this is your only warning. You better not do that again. You better not make it a habit, because I can't respect it. Now, everyone go and subscribe to Sean's channel if you haven't already. Most of you probably are. Where he gives some of the best prescriptive and legal criticisms of what we can do about the black community to incapacitate the criminals and be tougher on crime, sure, join for that definitely. Don't expect to hear anything intelligent about anything else. Have a good one.